The bull session continues on the Richard Syrett Show. News Talk, Sauga 960 AM.
Petty tyrant Legault in Quebec just keeps tightening the screws on the vaccine-free. Now anyone 12 and older who has decided, for whatever reason, not to take the biomedical intervention will be prohibited from shopping for groceries in Walmart. Now, if you want to go to the drugstore inside Walmart, you got to stand inside a little cage. But it gets worse. There's more and more of this going on in Quebec. Every day, something new coming out of or from the desk of Premier Legault. David Freiheit is the creator of the popular YouTube channel Viva Fry, of course, a former PPC candidate in the Montreal area. And always good to have David back on the program. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, and yourself, Richard?
Very well.
Just to clarify two minor details. It's
okay.
It's 13 and over. So if you're 12, you've got another 6 months or to a year of grace. And other than that, you had it right. Although those things were also, it's either at Costco. I didn't see it myself at the Walmart, but they certainly made me wait there so that they could escort me from the entrance to the pharmacy and directly back out. It's gone off the deep end in Quebec.
So now this has to do with, it wasn't Legault saying specifically Walmart, you have to close. It has to do with the square footage of these box stores, right?
Yeah, the rationale, and you'll ask yourself what rationale it is that big box stores over 1,500 square meters are now subject to the vaccine passport requirements, meaning you have to show proof of vaccination with your QR code and a piece of ID. So they make you pull down your mask to confirm your ID to match your QR code to enter. The exceptions are if the business is primarily a grocery or a pharmacy. So you can get into an IGA, a Metro, or any pharmacy. But then you got your Walmarts in between, which sell food, which have pharmacies, but also sell, toys. And so there you can go in, but you have to show the vaccine passport to get into the store. Unless you're going to the pharmacy. I don't think they've carved out an exception for the grocery side. But the absurdity, Richard, is that they make you go to a smaller store to get food or to get whatever else that you're not allowed to get at the big box retailers, which, if you're following any sort of science or any sort of logic, makes absolutely no sense that they in fact cram the people who are not showing the vaccine passport into smaller surface area stores. It's illogical. It's unscientific. It's unconstitutional. I could go on forever. It's maddening.
So the unfortunate part is, and I'm not a big fan of Walmart just because of their the fact that they're pretty cozy with the communist Chinese regime. But for a lot of people, you get some great deals when it comes to some, food staples at Walmart. And so to deny people access to the groceries at Walmart, I just think is unconscionable.
It's even worse. You're denying the people who are probably the most at need if they're shopping for clothes at a Walmart, winter gear at a Walmart, and knowing the demographics of who is being more disparately impacted by this policy. You know exactly what you're doing. You're penalizing the most vulnerable to begin with. And I said if it wasn't a racist or discriminatory policy by intent, it's certainly one by consequence. And it penalizes the most vulnerable. And it penalizes those demographics who have been historically and systematically already abused by the very government that is doing it yet again, but much more indirectly this time.
Right. And again, is it the same situation at Costco, which is primarily food? You can buy books and jeans and things there, but it's primarily food at Costco.
From what I understand is you need to show a vaccine passport, period, to get into Costco. And I've seen videos of people getting escorted out. So I don't know. I didn't get to Costco in my Viva on the street yesterday to document this, but Canadian Tire can't get in. Marshalls in Alexis Neon couldn't get in. I drove out to the Walmart on DeCarry, and the guy literally said, "You're not showing? You're not coming in." And I was like, "Well, I'm sure you have to let me go to the pharmacy." And I just as a joke bought a bottle of rubbing alcohol, but it's unconscionable. It's unconstitutional, and Walmart, the big box retailers, had the political power to try to fight this. I don't know what they did, but I don't think they did anything. And I'm not much of a fan of boycotting stores or promoting boycotts, but I do think that Walmart, if they tolerate discrimination anywhere, they effectively tolerate it everywhere. And if people in the States, think this precedent is okay because Walmart in the States won't do this, well, you're supporting a business that is doing this somewhere. And, people should vote with their dollars.
100%. David, we'll take a quick time out, come back and discuss further. David Freiheit from the popular YouTube channel Viva Fry, right here on the Richard Syrett Show. Back in 3 minutes.
Just having a little chin wag on the Richard Syrett Show. News Talk, Sauga 960 AM.
Viva Fry. Everybody loves Viva Fry. How many followers do you have?
430,000 on YouTube now, 120,000 on Twitter. We got another community where I partner up with Robert Barnes on locals, and we're at like 75, 80,000 members, which are not paying members. It's just another platform for a great community. vivabarneslaw.locals.com.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. Well deserved as well.
Thank you.
So what's happening with beer and wine in Quebec right now? Do you have to have a passport to get into the liquor store?
You do. And I will not show a passport to access any store. I went to the Walmart yesterday and just to see if they were going to do it. I won't go. So you can order online. The irony is last year when they barred off non-essential items from within pharmacies, and I swear to you, Richard, I saw it with my own eyes and I couldn't believe it. It was clearly a disheveled homeless person who wanted to buy socks. And the pharmacy, listening to Legault's idiotic policies at the time, literally sectioned off certain parts of the stores which had non-essential items and let people get the essential items. And I'm putting quotes there. This homeless guy wanted to buy socks, and the clerk literally said, "I can't sell you socks. Those are non-essential items." And I wanted to steal them and like slap a 20 down on the table, but it happened so quickly. I didn't react the way I should have in retrospect. But it's the exact same thing now. I went to these stores and I see people literally excluded from these stores. And statistically, I noticed they tended to be of certain demographics, which I predicted long ago, which would be impacted by this. It's just, it hits the wrong people, but it's idiotic on its face. And SAQ, yeah, they're asking for it. You can order online for now. We'll see if they ever impose the vaccine passport for online orders, given the science that Legault seems to be following.
Right. And this healthcare contribution tax it's going to be debated in the legislature. Where are we at with that? Are you holding out any hope that it'll be defeated in the legislature?
I think they're going to drop it. My prediction was that they were going to drop it. I didn't think they were even going to debate it, but they're going to debate it. But I think they're going to drop that due to pressure. But it's just like this endless chiseling away at social norms. Have the idea of taxing the unvaxxed as if it would ever stop there. I mean, if the rationale is that the unvaxxed cost the healthcare system through their decisions, we'll go after heavy people, go after people with STDs, go after people who've contracted STDs through unprotected sex. I mean, we are now crossing barriers that we had specific legislation to set up to protect the people who were affected by this. And you have Legault doing it, pushing the envelope. You have the media, the CBC, which I have nothing but disdain for at this point in my life, putting out articles which are intended in my mind to shape a narrative and not to reflect reality, suggesting that doctors are questioning whether or not they should treat COVID patients who show up if they're unvaccinated with lesser urgency because of their life decisions. That it's been a tenet of medicine that you do not ask what brought someone to the hospital when they show up. But the CBC is trying to portray a world in which doctors are questioning this. And it's sickening. And we'll hopefully come out of this era of madness and look back with shame. But at the very least, I just hope that I'll be on the right side of history and had opened my mouth enough at the time.
You are on the right side of history. You will be remembered as such. It's ironic that on this, Let's Talk, that's sponsored by Bell, that owns CTV. You mentioned CBC. Here we have CTV running these polls. Do you think that the unvaccinated should be jailed? I mean, how did they get so tone deaf?
Well, it's not just that. They run these bogus polls. I mean, for anyone who hadn't seen our live stream with an individual named Richard Barris, who's a pollster in the US, anybody who knows how corrupt and I dare say fraudulent these pollsters and polls are in the first place. So they poll 1,500 people whom are already of a certain demographic that might be prone to providing certain answers. Then they say, from this 1,500 sample of people we polled at 3 to 5 in the afternoon based on landline calls or whatever, I'm exaggerating. We now say that the majority of Canadians support jailing the unvaccinated. These are bogus polls intended to shape a narrative, intended to manipulate society, and not intended to reflect any actual reality. But the irony, you have a government that has spent 2 years financially destroying people, mentally destroying people, not allowing them to live, breathe, mourn the deaths of their loved ones like humans. And now they've designed an app to help you deal with the mental anguish. The same government, by the way, that has been spying on you, 33 million devices they spied on during the pandemic to track movement. The same government that was testing propaganda through the military on Canadians because the military saw it as a good opportunity to test propaganda on Canadians. Now they want you to trust them with your most fundamental, secretive information, your mental well-being, as if that could not be weaponized in a variety of ways.
So true, David. That is so true. A quick thought on the convoy freedom.
It's awesome. You see what they're trying to do. You got your media now all in tandem running with the January 6th narrative. They're going to try to frame this as a January 6th narrative in Canada, which could lend people to think that they might have a vested interest in agent provocateur in the crowd, whatever, exploit whatever incident that is an anomaly of a bunch of people to say that that's the rule. And then I heard also that they're trying to frame it as potentially having donated to terrorism for anybody who donated. Well, guess what, people? I donated it to it. I tweeted it. And if you want to make up nonsense that is allegedly defamatory, well, that's it. That's a knife that cuts both ways.
Excellent point. David, how do we watch you again, all of your YouTube and your other platforms?
Well, Viva Fry on YouTube, the Viva Fry on Twitter, and that's where you get a bit of an angrier, sassier Viva, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com on locals. And if you Google my name, you'll find a lot of ways to reach and a lot of fun information out there.
Terrific. Great work, David. Appreciate a visit from you every time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
David Freiheit. All right. Viva Fry.